10 Incredibly Famous Women in History. History is witness of the fact that women has evolved as much as men have. Women have never been behind men in any field. Their abilities have been doubted ever since, but in reality they have helped improve living equally with men in all the fields. Women have been a source of inspiration for many and have made name in almost every ground. They have dedicated themselves for achieving the best of what they do. History has many such examples where women have contributed a lot to the society. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe was an American actress and model who could not do much work in her life, but all she did was enough for everyone to remember till now. She mostly did roles of dumb blonde girl, and her appealing appearance made her the hot sensation of the time. She was found dead in her room, and doctors say that it was a suicide case. Her troubled personal life was under attention even before her death, but her work was always admired. Her pictures are extensively used as a style icon. Audrey Hepburn. When talking about famous women in history, it would be unjust if we leave behind Audrey Hepburn. She was an actress and humanitarian. She has won more than 15 awards for her outstanding performances and was nominated numerous times. She is still remembered for her role in Breakfast in Tiffany's. Her pictures and quotes are still extensively used. She was a woman with class. Hepburn was appointed Goodwill Ambassador of UNICEF and served as humanitarian from 1988 to 1992. She also entered International Best Dressed List Hall of Fame in 1961. Marie Curie. Marie Curie is one of the famous women in history who have made name by their hard work and passion. Born in Poland, she was very much into studying radioactivity, and she even dies as a result of explosion she was conducting for her tests. Her efforts cannot be forgotten. She won Nobel Prize in Chemistry and also shared Nobel Prize in Physics with her husband Pierre Curie. She was the first female professor in University of Paris. Lady Diana. Lady Diana could never be left out when talking about famous women in history. Diana was a woman who was known for her beauty, grace and her soft heart towards poor. She was the Princess of Wales and belonged to a family of British nobility. She was first wife of Prince Charles. After her wedding, she has been center of media attention, and her work for charity and visits to developing countries have been part of the reasons why people loved her as a person. Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa is one of very famous women in history and a name which needs no introduction. She was famous for her social work and her life as a nun. She was a Catholic religious sister born in Macedonia. She spent most of her lifetime in India. She is the founder of Missionaries of Charity, which is a Roman Catholic religious congregation. She has received many honors and titles, such as being recognized as saint by Roman Catholic Church. In addition to all this, she was given Nobel Peace Prize in 1979. Elizabeth I. Elizabeth I was Queen of England and Ireland from 1558 till her death. She was a charismatic personality, and sometimes people even refer her as a short-tempered ruler. During her period, not just the strengthening of empire took place, but fields of arts and drama also flourished. Writers like William Shakespeare and Christopher Marlowe led the English drama and playwriting. Her victory against Spain made her part of the greatest victories of England till date. Ella Fitzgerald. Ella Fitzgerald was a woman who got fame regardless of being a woman, and a name that has made women proud. She is one of the famous women in history who have their own charm and grace and an attitude that made her prominent in an era where women were mostly considered inferior. She left her 60 years of career in grace. She was given titles like Queen of Jazz and the First Lady of Song.
Rosa Parks.
Rosa Parks was a woman with strength to stand by her rights. She was an activist who stood by her rights and even crossed limits of strength that she was arrested for civil disobedience. Rosa Parks, an African-American civil rights activist who was given such powerful titles as the First Lady of Civil Rights and the Mother of Freedom movement. She started being famous when at first, she refused to give up her seat in bus to the White, 1955, in Montgomery, Alabama. She was the first female to stand against such segregation based on race or color. Throughout her life, she then stood for rights of black and affiliated with many organizations as well.
Anne Frank.
Anne Frank is the most discussed Jewish writer who was forced to hide during the Holocaust by Nazis. She wrote down her experiences in a diary which later on became famous as her autobiography. During World War II, she wrote down her experiences, which later got attention from many filmmakers as well. Her diary was published by the name of The Diary of a Young Girl, which is one of the most known books. It was published in 1947.
Cleopatra 7th.
Cleopatra is a name which needs no introduction. You can't ignore mentioning her name when it comes to Egyptian culture. Cleopatra is one of the famous women in history. Her full name is Cleopatra VII Theophilopata. Normally royal females were called Cleopatra, but Cleopatra VII was famous due to her being the last ruler of Ptolemaic Egypt. She was famous for her ambitions. She was known to be the most intelligent rulers of her time, as she was not afraid to use her lady charms for the well-being of her kingdom. To discuss more on this topic, leave a comment and do not forget to subscribe and give a thumbs up.